very much. Walter and Sylvia, your family, it's great to see you all here again. And thank you once again. Thank you once again for all the great things you've done for the Center for Discovery. I read the book cover to cover, and there were so many great chapters in it. I couldn't pick one out that I would want to choose to read. I mean, I would want to read all of them out loud. It was so interesting, not only as a book, not only because we know Walter, but because just as a book and as a historical piece, his interactions with Douglas MacArthur, with David Rockefeller, with the captains of industry in Japan, and with Fritz at the luncheonette. The luncheonette was particularly interesting to me because I remember a 2 cents plane, Walter. I remember that 2 cent plane. I used to save up to get the 2 cent plane, and if you had 6 cents, you could get milk in it, and that was called an egg cream. And you didn't put that in the book, Walter. I think you need a revision. So with the second edition, we need to get to that. It's a great book about a great life and a great man and someone who has devoted himself to other people. It's a book about perseverance. It's a book about never taking no for an answer. And it's a book about, in a lot of cases, living on the brink. I mean, there were a couple of times when I knew the ending of the story, so it was okay. But it was, you weren't quite sure as you were reading through it, right, Walter? I mean, it wasn't quite.
You were living it, yeah.
I'm sure that's exactly right. I mean, it's sort of the check arriving 3 months later to save the company, that sort of thing. But so I just want to give my thanks as a parent of a child at the center for everything that Walter has done. I want to also make sure everyone understands that Jack Ryan, my brother-in-law, and his wife Betty are here. They are actually the people that introduced Walter to the Center for Discovery. Jack is Alice's brother. And again, I've told this story at other meetings, but many of the people in the audience haven't heard it. The way I became acquainted with Walter it was 10 years ago. I found out in reading the book. I didn't realize it was that long ago. But 10 years ago, Walter had I'm a surgeon, and Walter had this serious vascular problem. So Jack said, well, you should go see my brother-in-law. So he made an appointment, and he came in on a Wednesday afternoon when I had 40 other patients, and Walter comes in with his loose leaf binders filled with research. And because he had, just like for the book, which I'm sure you have copious notes, he had copious notes about your arterial problem as well. And he opens up the loose leaf book that was about 7 inches thick, and in chapter 1, the Dead Sea Scrolls. We're going to start here, he said, and we're going to trace the history of this operation up until 2005, and you're going to tell me why I should have this done. And all I'm doing is I'm looking at my watch and I'm realizing that the waiting room is full of people. But it was a thoroughly enjoyable few hours, and we got everything taken care of to everybody's satisfaction, and he remains what he is today, which is a great person and a great guy with a great family. So I recommend everybody read the book. It's really a great book. It really is. And it's interesting. And for anyone who grew up in New York, it takes you back. It really does. I mean, I didn't grow up in Ozone Park, but I grew up in Queens, and I know what Ozone Park was like, and it wasn't much different than where I was. And we also had our Fritz's luncheonette and all the rest of that stuff. But what we didn't have is what Walter put up with as a young man, which was to be sent away basically in isolation to an institution where his family couldn't visit. And those of us that have sent our children up to the Center for Discovery, which hardly is even in the same, planet structure as what Walter went through, but we know how hard that can be, so we know how isolating it was for him. And to have him come through that, the man that he was, and to take his first job in the luncheonette, because he couldn't get anything else at that time, is a tribute to his character and to his perseverance. and we're all the lucky beneficiaries of all those characteristics. So, Walter, again, this is a great night for you, and it's a great night for the center and for your family. Thank you very much.